Welcome to New England Ambiance, and today we'll be reviewing the Taskmaster live experience that is in London. It's been started in October and it's going through February of 2025. We went to it back in October when we were in England, and I'm going to kind of go into a no spoiler review of what the experience was like. A little bit of everything with it. Just because we were also in the very unique position where my wife and I were both the winners. I was the total winner of our round, and my wife was the best of the worst. So we ended up getting some awards, which I'll be showing to you later. Um, and again, there will be no spoilers because it's a really fun experience, and you should be able to experience it without any spoilers. So let's get into what it was like. Um, so booking the tickets was pretty easy, just on the Taskmaster Live Experience website. It was a bit on the expensive side. We paid £70 per person. We booked this back in about a month before. I think we went on like October 14th. And we booked it on September 12th, like when we very first heard about it. It just sounded like, okay, we just happened to be in London during when this was going on, or when this was scheduled to be started. So we did not go to London specifically for this event, but it was really awesome that it was going on when we were there. So, and Taskmaster is our favorite TV show. So we, even though it was expensive, not nearly as expensive as something like Abba Voyage, but it was expensive, but it was worth it. Um, so we booked for, because they have two different I guess tracks or whatever you can do. We chose the absolute casserole one. Um, and it was kind of hard when we went to go book it because we didn't know anything about it. Because it hadn't even, no one hadn't even gone through it yet. It was just announced. Um, so we couldn't read reviews and kind of see which one was the better one. But I figured since Alex Horn released a book called Absolute Casserole, then it's probably maybe the better one of the two. So we booked Absolute Casserole. Um, so we paid £70 a person, so £140 total. Said our arrival time was at 10:15 in the morning, so it opens at 10 in the morning. Um, Now the arrival time isn't the time that you go right into it, so that was nice. But first, let me show you kind of how to get there. When we took the tube, we went to you go to the Canada Water tube station, and here on the map, it's this round bit right here. This big circle thing with a light in it. And the Google Maps are wrong, but it's having you kind of walk along behind this like reddish trapezoid thing is a library. Just walk across the street where it says Deal Porter Square. And then once you kind of get around the library, then you can totally see it. It's maybe like a 3-minute walk from the tube station. Then you walk over this little bridge, and then this whole big building is like a big warehouse space that they use for different functions and things. Um, they it, the whole thing is the Taskmaster Live experience, and you don't go in where Google is telling you to go right in the front where it says Doc X. But you can't miss it because the sides of the building are just painted with the Taskmaster logo, and it says your time starts now in big black and white letters. It's super easy to find. When you get in, you check in, they scan your barcodes at the reception desk, and then you're kind of immersed right in the world of Taskmaster. There's a mock-up of the Taskmaster house, which is amazing looking. You can see patatas on the roof. If you look over to your right, you see the cow and the caravan. and they have like a bar area and lots of tables set up. And there's also lots of little fun, like little challenges you can do. They have like a shed in there and lots of like little buildings that you can poke your head into, and they have tasks posted all around on the walls. Um, and you like even in the bathroom, they have tasks like in front of the urinals. So, um, so there's like little tasks everywhere. If you go to the right, probably the first thing you should do is, sorry, to the left. When you first walk in, you'll see the store. Walk past the store to the left, and you'll see an area, a big locker room, and you can lock up your stuff there. The lockers are probably about a foot square, maybe a foot and a half square, so about 30 to 45 centimeters. And you don't need to bring a lock. I was worried about that because we're sightseeing and we're having cameras and things with us, and you can't bring your. They said not to bring your phones in, not to take any pictures inside. So we made sure to lock everything up in the locker. And basically, since we got there, we probably got there around 5 after 10 or so, because we watched like a line of people go in from the distance when we were walking towards it. So even though our time, it says your arrival time 10:15, we didn't go in until 10:30. So when you check in, they give you a a lanyard with a color on it. Ours was the yellow team, and so we were being called at 10:30. So that gave us some time to kind of put our stuff in the lockers and walk around and look at the museum, which was super neat. Um, there were lots and lots of cool stuff, like a lot of the artwork and stuff that they made during different tasks, like draw Greg Davies. Just lots of different things. You could see the actual Taskmaster award that the winners of the seasons win. Um, High up and out of reach above a doorway. So, but there's that. There's the typewriter used at the opening sequence. They have the original whistle that Alex Horn used, and um, the Taskmaster seal set, and things like that. I mean, just lots of really neat things that you've seen in episodes. Mostly seem to be art, but like the model of the small model of the house and things like that. So it was really cool walking around the museum, and I wish I had more video of it. Um, I took a very quick video just kind of walking around before going in, and I told myself when I get out, I'm gonna film a much longer video, and I totally did not because I was so excited. It just was like, wow, that was a lot of fun, and I did not record more. So basically, you have some time to walk around, look at the museum and stuff. And because we went so early, the great thing about that is almost nobody was there yet. So very few people. So you have time to pose with the big cement statue of Greg Davies sitting on a chair. Things like that. Go into to that geometric dome thing and pose with the big pineapple. You have time to do that stuff beforehand before it gets busy, because when we got out, because it takes about an hour to go through the tasks, it's a lot busier because you have people who have just gotten out of their tasks, and you've got other people who are waiting to go into their tasks. So it went from being like a couple dozen people around to maybe like 100 people all around. So it was a lot busier. So I would say get there early. Okay. So when it's time to go in, the cow moves very loudly, and they have a TV monitor that has a countdown clock for each color band. Um, so for the yellow people, it counts down to 10:30, and then the cow moves, and then you line up in front of the Taskmaster house door, and then you go inside. Inside was kind of like a lobby area that had a bunch of doors in it and a bunch of like Taskmaster like artwork of Greg Davies. I wish I had pictures of this stuff, but again, you can't take pictures inside. So honestly, I don't remember if it was the actual ones from the show or new ones or what. Um, but the person kind of leading us through was called Little Alex Horn, and the woman who did it for our group was wonderful. She was really fun. Um, and then she brought us in through another doorway where we went into basically the lobby of the house. Um, so then we had our first task. Again, I'm not going to do any spoilers, so I'm not even going to say what it was. But this first task for Absolute Casserole was a really great way to start. It was very low stakes. It was, um, it was funny because a lot of people. So I'm going to back up for a moment. So it was my wife and I, and we got lumped together with two families from Scotland who had come down specifically for this Taskmaster Live experience. And I think there was like 10 of them in that family. So it's either 8 or 10 of them. So together it was like 10 or 12 people total. So they all knew each other, and then we were like the little outliers off to the side. So, but they had a few kids, ranging in age probably from like 10 to 16 or so, who were massive fans of the show. They knew everything, and they tried to be very clever with a lot of tasks, and sometimes too clever. Um, because in this first task, a bunch of them got disqualified for trying to be too clever. Um, my only thing, again, without revealing anything, is I'll just try to complete the task, because chances are most of the people will get disqualified anyway. So as long as you complete it, you're gonna do pretty well. But it was just a really great intro task that kind of get you warmed up for what was to come. There's a total of 5 tasks, so first one was pretty quick, but it was neat. So then we moved, and this was my personal favorite, to the second task, which was in the library or study. And I really wish I could have spent like an hour in this room looking at it, because it was so well done. I'm sure it was much larger than the real library room from the real Taskmaster house. But it was decorated just like the TV show. There's so much to see, so much to look at. It was just like a big assault on your senses, and um, it was so wonderful. But again, with the task, the big pressure is the time. So they gave you a limited amount of time. I think it was like 5 or 6 or 7 minutes or something like that to do this task, and it was like you don't have time to look around and like appreciate all the details. You just are in it, and it's like and so you just start doing it. Um, but I really liked this room. It was so well done. It was amazing. Again, wish I had so much more time to explore. Um, and on the second task, I was the winner for it. I won't say why, because there is a very big spoiler for it. I'll probably post spoilers once this is over. And it's not. They've closed down the Taskmaster Live experience at the end of February. Um, because I had nailed this one, so maybe that's why I like the room so much. Anyway, then we went to the third task, which was in the laboratory. There wasn't a lot to look at in there, because it's a big room with plastic sheets on the wall, like you're gonna get chopped up by Dexter or something. Um, the task itself was pretty tricky, and they had like a big clue on the wall, but it was like this big code thing that I wish I could have spent like I probably would have taken me like 10 or 15 minutes to figure it out. Um, but again, you had a very limited time. They said like, okay, you've got like 4 minutes to complete this task, and you're just like, and you don't think, and you just throw stuff together, and you just wing it as best you can. And Did not do so great on it, but again, a lot better than other people because other people got disqualified. So it's just try to complete the task without without screwing it up. Then from there, we went to. They brought us to like a hallway. And again, in every one of these instances, like when you go into a new room, there's a like a TV screen in there, and Alex Horn pops up onto it, and he kind of tells you about the task and passes it off to the little Alex Horn, and then kind of she gave more information. Um, but that was pretty neat. So we were in like this hallway thing, and they had like a screen showing the rankings so far um, after the first three tasks, and then they had a song which at first my wife and I were like, I know we've heard this somewhere before. We didn't know what it was, but the kids all knew it and they were singing along. And we actually just the other day we've been rewatching season 9, and it's the song that Rose Matafeo was singing in it, where they have to make up lyrics to the Taskmaster song. Um, and that's what it was, what they were playing, and the kids were all singing along to it. Then we went to the fourth task, which was the garage, which was like a physical or accuracy challenge. Um, and I did pretty well in this one, but there was a technical issue with it that messed up 2/3 of everyone's scores. Um, like there was something that just didn't, some technical thing that just did not work, and it messed up almost everyone's scores. Like again, like two thirds of everyone's scores. So that kind of delayed things when it was done, and people were a little cranky about that. And the little Alex Horn was trying to figure things out and trying to get things sorted. But because of that, we ran long as far as our time goes. So now we weren't lined up with when Alex Horn appears on the TVs. Like he appeared on the TVs and said like, "Oh, here's the ranking so far." But it was messed up because we didn't have accurate rankings because this part was messed up. So, I'm hopefully attributing it to that the Taskmaster Live experience started maybe like a week and a half before we went to it, and they were still kind of working out the kinks to it. I'm hoping that I'd imagine that they would not still be having this issue a month and a half later. But um, but yeah. So otherwise, it was a fun task. It really was. It was just kind of just go nuts. That's kind of I guess the big thing. Go nuts and wing it. And then the fifth task is the stage. It's kind of weird little stage, but at this point they kind of divided everyone up by their rankings and said, okay, the top half of the people, top 5 or 6 people, are up on the stage, and we're behind podiums with a buzzer on it. And the other half were in the audience. And they each, like the people in the audience, had a task to do while we were doing our task up on the stage. Not going to go into it, but my wife was in the audience part, and I was up on the stage. Um, and then there was another technical issue with the stage part of it, not the audience part. But in the audience part, my wife won. So she ended up getting a golden rubber ducky that has a Taskmaster TM in the center of its chest, and it says "Best of the Worst" on it, which is a really cool prize. Um, so that was neat. And then on my part up on the stage, I ended up winning, despite the technical issue that happened at the very beginning when we got up on stage. But I ended up winning the whole thing. So because of that, I got to sit in Greg Davies' chair. I don't know if it was the real one, but I got to sit there, and I was presented with a medal that on one side says Taskmaster and has the Taskmaster House and says established 2014. On the other side, it says Champion, the live experience. So that was really fun. And then they took pictures. So it's supposed to be, I guess, just a picture of the winner. So I guess just of me, but I invited because they said that the winner gets a free glossy photo, and a barcode where you can scan it and you could get like free download picture of it. So I invited the families that were there. I mean, a few of them had already left at that point, to go out into the lobby area. Um, but the rest of them, they all posed around the chair as well, so they were able to use my barcode and get like a free picture out of it. But otherwise, I believe if you want to, you can pay. I think it's like £12. This is like £8 or £12 to get your own private picture sitting on the Taskmaster chair. Um, so that was that. I'm not going to show the picture because there are a bunch of kids in it, and that would not be right. So, but otherwise, I mean, it's a really cool picture. So I would, even if we didn't win, I would probably spend the money to buy it because it's a cool picture. I mean, hey, you're on the Taskmaster thing. Why not? So then when we finished, I think they gave then we walked down a long hallway and then we were back out into the main like lobby area, what looked like the outside of the building and the museum and things like that. So then we went into the store. And here's a bunch of the stuff that we got. Of course, on here's the medal and the duck, but we ended up getting the Taskmaster, the card game. We have not opened it yet. On the back it says, "Could you be the Taskmaster, or could you do better than the hapless comedians you've watched on TV? Then play Taskmaster, the card game." Featuring favorite tasks from the TV show, this travel-size, quick-play card game brings the essence of Taskmaster to your very own home. Judge and be judged. Your time starts now. And it has a couple of examples. It says, "Draw the biggest and best circle. You have 3.14 minutes. Your time starts when the Taskmaster circles somebody." Or completely fill a shoe. You must not fill your shoe with a foot. Fastest wins. Your time starts now. So this seems like a really fun little card game. This envelope thing that says Taskmaster and looks like a Taskmaster envelope. On the opposite side, it says Taskmaster. Become the Taskmaster. Set your own tasks and even send them in the post to your friends and family with your very own Taskmaster task and letter writing kit. This has the Taskmaster branded writing paper, a replica wax seal, and an envelope. So you can send someone who's also a fan of Taskmaster in the mail their own task. Also got this cool magnet. It's actually a pretty solid magnet. Like, it really sticks well to the fridge, but it says, "Stick something extraordinary to your fridge." So that's fun. We also got a couple of keychains. One is of the wax seal. That's kind of like a rubbery plastic that just says TM for the Taskmaster logo. And the other one is the fun one. This one was kind of expensive, I think. I think it was about like 10, 12 pounds for this. And it's a solid metal keychain of the Taskmaster Award. Although honestly, it doesn't look a lot like Greg Davies because this face on this is really thin. No offense to him, but it is very neat. It's solid metal, and it's a neat keychain. And otherwise, and this one here that says Taskmaster Live Experience, this glossy thing, the photo is in there that I got. And the card that's on it says Taskmaster Live Experience is the photo pass, which they give you, so you can scan the code on it and get a digital download of your photo. And you can pick 4 different backgrounds, which was 3 or 4, which was really neat. Like, so you can just have it just you, or have it with Greg and Alex in front of the Taskmaster house, or with a different background. It was just kind of neat how you can kind of customize that. As far as the other merchandise, I was a bit disappointed. I wish they had like Taskmaster shirts that just had just the logo on it, like Taskmaster with maybe like either the house or um, the wax seal logo, just simple shirts like that. And they did have a cool one for Tree Wizard, which I was super happy about, but not in the right size for me, which you would think that they would have t-shirts and stuff that could accommodate even a Greg Davies kind of very tall, very big person, but they did not. So that was a bit of a downer. Um, they also had Christmas crackers there, which were neat. We bought those last year from the website. Some books and other stuff, but overall, we were a bit disappointed by all of the merchandise. They could have done so much more. They could have had like prints or posters, things like that, or other knick-knacky things. I mean, the show is so creative and there's just so much to it. They could have really kind of plumbed the depths of the show and just gone crazy with merchandise, and they did not. So we're a bit disappointed with the selection. So looking after going to it, I was looking at some of the online reviews today, and I think overall on Google, like it's like 3.7 stars, which seems kind of low. And looking at the more recent ones, the biggest complaint, and people were pretty harsh, saying that the cost was just insane. And I know that they have been doing specials, so we paid £70. And I know that they've been having, you can enter a lottery to win £25 tickets. Looking on the website, they had a lot of them that were like £50 each for tickets. So they do seem to be kind of listening to people's complaints and coming down a bit on the prices. But like some of the people online liken the experience to a Taskmaster themed escape room, and where you're being rushed. And being rushed is part of it. You have a limited amount of time to complete the tasks, and they kind of get you through in 1 hour. So from when you first walk in the Taskmaster house to when you leave is 1 hour. So, and you've got other groups coming in after you, so I understand the need to kind of move people through. But my overall review, I'd probably say 8 out of 10. It was super fun. Very high production values. I mean, just the little details, like again, the patatas being on the roof of the Taskmaster house, and you can go and sit inside the caravan, and you can go into that little geometric dome thing. You can pose to the statue of Greg Davies. It looks like the house, and they made this big giant warehouse space look awesome. So amazing production values on it. They clearly spent a ton of money making this into the Taskmaster house and yard. Our little Alex Horn was wonderful, even despite the technical issues, which were not her fault at all, but she was funny and a little spicy things, kind of making fun of people, and she was awesome. The museum was great. Again, I wish the store was better stocked and had other stuff, and they had a whole food and beverage area, which we didn't really take advantage of. They had given us a QR code where we can get a free drink of some kind, and my wife got something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was because they renamed all the drinks something. So, that was some kind of fruit juice thing. But I mean, it looked cool. We had a bunch of other stuff to do in the day, so otherwise we would have probably hung out longer and probably had lunch there or something. Would I do it again? Yes, absolutely. It was super fun, and I had a smile on my face for the rest of the day. I was like, wow, this was so much fun. Ideally at a slightly lower price point, but it was amazing. Loved it. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.